What's up, Ragin Nation? How's it going? This is Alex, and you're watching a Ragin Ronin review. I got a top 10 list for you guys in this episode. I'm gonna give you my top 10 favorite 80s cartoons. This is a episode that I'm really excited about because the 80s was awesome. If you grew up in the 80s, you know exactly what I'm talking about. There were just endless cartoons to watch. And I'm not just talking about any cartoons. I'm talking about really great cartoons with original ideas and concepts. You know what I'm talking about because in the morning at 7 a.m. you would put on a bowl of cereal and watch some cartoons before you went to school. Then after you came home from school, you couldn't wait home to put your bag down and then put on some milk and cookies and watch Transformers or G.I. Joe from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. and then after 5 p.m. sitcoms would come on, and then Saturday mornings we'd have Saturday morning cartoons all the way until like the early noon time around 1 or 2 p.m. and then on Sunday there was nothing. There was just no good cartoons on Sundays, depending on where you live. But in any case, that was the routine for any 80s kids. And the 80s was awesome for a lot of things, not just cartoons. Like, just all the original ideas for the entertainment industry came during that era. I'm talking about cartoons, TV shows, movies, and even music. Some of the best stuff came out during that time. So, yeah, it was a really awesome time. And without further ado, let's just get right into it. Top 10 80s cartoons. Here we go. Number 10, Inhumanoids. I freaking loved Inhumanoids. It was actually kind of scary at the time when I watched it. It was kind of grotesque because you'd have these people get decomposed and then they morphed and like evolved into these monsters, and the animation was so grotesque, but it was so awesome. I was very fascinated by monsters at the time, so I really enjoyed it. It was a very short-lived series, but I loved revisiting it, and unfortunately, like, I don't know how to get it on DVD. I guess I could go on eBay to find it, but I don't know if it's like the original version or if it's got all the episodes. But in any case, I would love to be able to own that series again, to be able to watch it. Number 9, Robotics. Who puts the future in your hands? Robotics. I love Robotics because it had robots in it, or at least mechs. I love the fact that it was kind of like a, I really enjoy Transformers, and now you have these humans piloting these robots, and it was just a really cool concept. Once again, just like in Humanoids, it was a very short-lived series. It was an ongoing series, as in like it was after you finish one episode, the next episode would continue where the story left off until the story ended. So it was a limited series. It didn't last for very long, and it was and Robotics and Inhumanoids came out on a series called Super Saturdays, where they only ran for 10 minutes at a time, and then you watch a new episode every Saturday. So that was really cool. I freaking love Robotics. I actually have had some of the toys. Number 8, Garfield and Friends. Who doesn't love Garfield? I actually prefer Garfield more than his friends, like Orson's Farms. But Orson's Farms was a lot of fun to watch. But I just love watching more of Garfield and Odie and John. I just loved I had the comics, and I love watching them on TV. So that was a lot of fun. Number 7, Tom and Jerry. Tom and Jerry, it's just endless escapades and adventures between those two, and it's always the same concept. They're just trying to outsmart each other. Tom is just trying to catch Tom is trying to catch Jerry, and Jerry's always outsmarting him, and they just keep on having the same idea but with different ways of executing it, and that was just a lot of fun. Number 6, Looney Tunes, and by Looney Tunes I mean everything. I'm talking about Bugs Bunny and Friends, Daffy Duck, Elmer Fudd, the big rooster, I forgot his name, but you know what I'm talking about. All those guys, they're so much fun to watch. Pepe Le Pew, the skunk. Yeah, I love all those cartoons, and there was a lot of like sketchy things going back in those cartoons. Like when you look at it now, they probably wouldn't be allowed to be shown now. But I love that time where they could do anything they want. They could like drop an anvil on one of those characters. He'd walk around like a pancake, and we'd laugh our asses off. So that was really funny. Okay, number 5, Robotech. When I first watched Robotech, I thought it was like a spin-off from Transformers. In a way, it kind of was. I mean, it wasn't like a spin-off in the sense that it was the same story, but they took some of the robots. I mean, like Transformers took robots from Japan. Robotech took ideas and robots from Japan. So it was kind of the same thing, but somehow they were able to wrap 3 different Japanese series into a 3-series story, which were all connected, even though in Japan they were completely disconnected, had nothing to do with each other. And I actually loved the story. It was actually it had a very human story. Like, out of all the different 80s cartoons out there, it had a very human story, and I think it had a lot to do with the fact that it had a lot of this Japanese inspiration to it, where it's very, very much more character-driven in terms of the humans. So that was a huge aspect of the film, and there was a lot of love stories in there, and it made me really engaged because I was invested in all those characters. And it was kind of sad at times. So yeah, very, very cool. I love the first generation the most with Rick Hunter. Number 4, the real Ghostbusters. Now, when I saw Ghostbusters, like the movie, it was actually very scary to me. But I loved the cartoons. And of course, to this date, I love the movie. The movie is so awesome. But I do love the cartoons. It was just a way to experience the movie again and again, like whenever it was shown on TV, and I watched it religiously. I even had Egon Spengler, like the action figure toy of like his character. But I always wanted to get all 4, but they were always very hard to find, and my mom thought that 1 is enough. Number 3, G.I. Joe. G.I. Joe, American blah 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 hero. G.I. Joe's there, and knowing's half the battle. G.I. Joe's awesome, and I love the fact, I mean, people in the 80s always joke about this. There is no killing in G.I. Joe. No matter how many times they shoot lasers at each other, nobody is ever killed, except I think maybe in the movie. Yeah, the 1986 movie did have some killings, but the series itself had no killings. Everybody, when they got close to each other, even though they're blasting each other at like long range, they got up to each other. Close range, the Cobra soldiers always get punched out. They always jumped out of exploding vehicles, and that was something that even as a kid we joked about. So that was really funny. Number 2, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I don't know why, but like out of all the cartoons like that I've mentioned, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was just so awesome. Like, I never read the comics. My first exposure to it was, of course, the cartoons, and I just loved all 4 characters. I think it had a lot to do with the fact that, okay, they were ninjas, but also every character is so memorable. They each had their own separate personalities, and that's what made us as an audience were so able to connect to all of them, because, you know, even if you were not able to, if one of them wasn't your favorite, you'd have another favorite. Like, you'd have a favorite. You would like Michelangelo because you were not really, you didn't like Raphael. Or you liked Raphael because Michelangelo was too crazy for you. Or something like that. You know, it was just a lot of fun. And then there were always recurring themes, how they're, Raphael is always the hot-headed one, and Leonardo is always the one who's trying to do better for his master and trying to be the better leader. And, you know, there was always that struggle of power, and I really, really liked that about it. And then Michelangelo just didn't care, and like, he just wants to have fun. And Donatello's the tech nerd of them all. And it was just fun to watch. Like, what an awesome concept. And number 1, you already know what it is, Transformers. And I'm not just saying that just because I'm a Transformers fan. I'm saying that because what a cool idea. Okay, the idea alone is super cool. All right, you have these vehicles that are the Autobots, and you have these like these jets and more aggressive things that they transformed into, like guns and tanks and stuff like that. And those are the Decepticons. And they were just doing battle, and they came from Cybertron, and they waged their war until they got up to Earth, and now they have to help the humans. And like, what a great idea! And watching the transformations, and to come out with these amazing toys that we played for generations and generations, like, this is so awesome. Like, you ask any 80s kids, they will tell you that, most of them will tell you that Transformers is their favorite cartoon, because it's just, their toys were so versatile, and you could be a car fan and then you'd love it, and you could be a robot fan and you would love it, and then you'd enjoy the transformations of the robots, and just like G.I. Joe, there was always something to joke about, like mass shifting. That's always going to be a recurring joke. Like, how can they all fit inside Astro Train, have a big fight with Devastator inside, and Astro Train's still the same size? Like, how did that make any sense? And it's always that will always be joked about, and that's the charm of it. And all the different errors, like how come, like, you know, when you see the Decepticons flying, you would see like 20 Star Screams or 20 Thundercrackers, and then you'd see like Soundwave clones or something like that. It was really crazy, but that was just the charm of it. And then, you know, we question a lot of that now, but even back then, that's something that we were able to spot. So it's really, really fun. Anyways, there you have it. Those are my top 10 80s cartoons. Now, of course, there were a lot of 80s cartoons, so I do want to give some honorable mentions to some cartoons that I really enjoyed but didn't make the top 10 list. Flintstones, m.a.s.k, the Smurfs, and Inspector Gadget. These are ones that I remember a lot about, but you know, the other ones still made the list before them. And I do want to mention that, like I said, there's tons of cartoons. There are ones that I really enjoyed, but I can't remember anything about them. Okay, and those are Defenders of the Earth, Galaxy Rangers, and Visionaries. I remember enjoying them and watching every single episode, but I can't remember anything about them. But they do deserve a mention because, like I said, they were ones that I enjoyed. I just can't remember anything about them. And as a matter of fact, if you put them on the TV, I'll probably be like, oh, okay, now I remember, or I'll be like, wow, I don't remember this at all. Anyways, that's all I gotta say in this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what are your top 10 80s cartoons, and if you didn't grow up in the 80s, then let me know if there are some of these cartoons that you've seen because you were exposed to them somehow. All right, so there you have it. As always, if you enjoyed this video, you want to see more, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to YouTube channel, like me on Facebook, The Ragin Nation, also follow me, Twitter, Ragin Nation. My name's Atsu. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Peace.